Welcome back, everybody, to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and today I'm going to break down if the Chiefs need to make a big-time trade for a wide receiver before the NFL trade deadline. So, ladies and gentlemen of the Chiefs Kingdom, as you all probably saw yesterday, Rashid Rice exited yesterday's game against the Chargers with a torn ACL after Patrick Mahomes threw a horrendous interception, and on that very same play, clipped Rashid Rice's knee, subsequently ending his 2024 season before it could really even start. And so I would say that that play is probably in the running for the worst play of Patrick Mahomes' career. I mean, he threw a horrible pick, and on that same play, ended his number one option season. So it doesn't really get worse than that for the Chiefs. And that begs the question, do the Chiefs need to go out and trade for another wide receiver to add more talent to that wide receiver room? Because right now, things don't look great. Xavier Worthy is your number one wide receiver. Your number two wide receiver would be Juju Smith-Schuster, a guy you signed off the street right before the season started. And if we just go down the list, I mean, it's Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, oh my gosh, Justin Watson, Sky Moore, who's a garbage can, Mecole Hardman. It just does not look good for this wide receiver room right now. And so I think Brett Veach has to go out there and make a move. And a lot of options have been thrown out there. I've heard Davante Adams. I've heard Cooper Kupp. And while those options sound nice, I don't think they have a very high possibility of actually coming true. I think there's a couple guys that we're going to talk about in this video that have a legitimate shot at being traded to the Chiefs. I think the criteria that we have to talk about, that's worth mentioning is the wide receiver that's going to be a target has to be in the last year of his deal. It has to be a deal that makes sense for the Chiefs via trade. And it also has to be a player that is a veteran wide receiver who could produce. And so that leads us to our first option, and that is Cleveland Browns wide receiver Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is a very fascinating trade target because he's a guy that's pretty cheap. The Cleveland Browns actually converted Cooper's cap hit to only $605,000 if a team wanted to trade for him at the deadline. And so that makes him an affordable target. Cooper's always been one of the more reliable wide receivers in the league. He's obviously aged and his production has gone down in Cleveland, but Cleveland's won one game. Deshaun Watson has played, horrible to start this season. And so I think that Amari Cooper could be a guy that the Chiefs trade for, and he maybe has a bit of a resurgence in Kansas City. And so I think that if the Chiefs could go out and trade for Amari Cooper, it doesn't solve all of your problems, but I think it takes so much pressure off of Xavier Worthy to produce in 2024. And actually, Amari Cooper just posted on Instagram, on his Instagram story, he deleted it, but he said, LOL, I wouldn't mind at all, addressing the trade rumors to the Chiefs. And so I think that out of all the candidates we are going to talk about in this video, Amari Cooper probably makes the most sense. Like I said, the Browns converted his contract into a signing bonus, which makes him a very affordable trade candidate. I mean, again, it's $605,000. They could absolutely do that. And opposed to some of the other guys that we're going to talk about, Cooper is a reasonable option at a position of need, and I think that he could give you some much needed production at that position. The next guy we're going to talk about is a guy that has been linked to the Chiefs for many years, and that is DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins has been a guy that, Chiefs fans have wanted to see in a uniform for a while now. He visited with the Chiefs back, when he was a free agent. Ultimately, he ended up signing a massive deal in Tennessee. But similar to the Browns, Tennessee sucks. Tennessee is a bad football team. And so that leaves the possibility of DeAndre Hopkins maybe joining the Chiefs mid-season. And that is a crazy, possibility because Hopkins, I think, does have more in the tank. But it begs the question, do the Chiefs want to trade for Hopkins and pay him the remainder of his salary? He was not a cheap contract, and so it might take, a lot of cap space that, you might not have to acquire Hopkins. But listen, if you're Brett Veach and you have the opportunity to bring in Hopkins on even just a 1-year trade deadline deal, I would take it, because right now this team is just starving for wide receiver talent, and Hopkins could come in right away, be your number one wide receiver, be the veteran in the room, and I think that he's still got stuff left in the tank, and that would be a incredible opportunity for him to get his first ring. And so maybe, keep your eyes open for DeAndre Hopkins. While this one doesn't seem as likely as the Amari Cooper one, I still think that DeAndre Hopkins might be a guy the Chiefs, take a look at. Like I said, the Chiefs tried to sign him back when he was a free agent. He ultimately signed somewhere else, but a reunion might not be out of the possibility. I guess it's not a reunion, but a chance that DeAndre Hopkins joins this team might not be out of the realm of possibility. And the final trade candidate that we're going to talk about in this video is Carolina Panthers target, and that is Deontay Johnson. Johnson was a guy that looked really good in Pittsburgh, signed with the Panthers. The Panthers aren't very good. I think as they continue to lose, Carolina will be more willing to move off of Johnson. And he's had his issues with drops in the past. But listen, right now the Chiefs just need as much wide receiver talent as they can possibly get their hands on. And I think that Johnson could be good in this offense. I mean, at the end of the day, the Chiefs just need some, reliable pass catchers. He's shored up some of those drop issues that he had in Pittsburgh. And so if the Chiefs could go out and trade with, Carolina to get Deontay Johnson, or maybe even an Adam Thielen, I would love that, because I think that offers, more talent than what we currently have in this wide receiver room. So Chiefs Kingdom, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you like these wide receiver trade options? Which ones make sense? Which ones don't? I think at the end of the day, while DeAndre Hopkins and Deontay Johnson would be very nice to have in this offense, the one that makes the most sense is Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper could be a guy that gets traded very soon. And for that cap hit, that $605,000, I think that makes the most sense for the Chiefs, because they don't have a ton of cap space. And so if they could go out there and trade for Amari Cooper, it gives you a veteran wide receiver to add to this group. And while it doesn't solve all of your problems, I will definitely breathe a lot easier. And so I would love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments below. Do you think the Chiefs will trade for Amari Cooper? Or who else do you think the Chiefs might have on their radar for a potential trade? Since Hollywood Brown and Rashid Rice are out, it might take multiple wide receivers to make this wide receiver room competent again. And so maybe they make a couple trades at the wide receiver position. The past 2 years, they've traded for a wide receiver in Kadarius Toney 2 years ago, and then Mecole Hardman last year. And so it seems like Brett Veach is going to get on the phone and try to bring in another wide receiver for this offense. That's all I have for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, go follow me on social media, Instagram and TikTok, KC_Sports Report, and Twitter at KC Sports Report. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video, and go Chiefs.